Mr. Lautenberg. Mr. Lautenberg, aye. Mr. Cornyn. Mr. Cornyn, aye.
So today the Senate, echoing a move by the House of Representatives several weeks ago, passed a new piece of credit card legislation that creates a number of new rules that the industry will have to abide by in an attempt to create a more consumer-friendly environment. In fact, there are at least 9 important aspects to this, and we're going to go after them one by one. First of all, retroactive rate increases. Now, the way this tended to work was that if you got into trouble with the card company, they would say to you, hey, you know what, you've done something wrong and we're going to raise your interest rate on the balance and the debt that you've already run up. Well, now it's going to take at least 30 days before they can do that to you, at least in the House version, and 60 days if you haven't made any payment in the Senate version. Number 2, they want to reward good behavior, at least the Senate does in their version. So the way that happens is that if you have paid your bill on time for 6 months, the Senate wants the credit card company, if they've already raised your rate, to consider giving you a break and lowering it again. Now, the 45-day rule, that's number 3 here. And all this means is that if they're going to make any kind of major change, they need to give you 45 days notice. Number 4, it's what I like to call nonsense. There's a lot of billing nonsense, kind of ugly practices in the card industry. One of the things they do is that they may only give you 14 days from when they send the bill to when the due date is. Well, now that requirement is 21 days. They have to send it out that far in advance. You aren't stuck paying late fees. Now, high interest first. So the way this happens is a lot of people end up with a bunch of different rates on their debt. Well, what's going to happen now is that when you send your check in and it's more than the minimum payment, they're going to apply the money to the highest interest debt first, which helps the consumers. Okay, over the limit fees. So this is among the most noxious charges that the credit card industry levies. Well, now what's going to happen is that if you want the privilege of paying that fee, you're going to have to opt in and raise your hand and say, yes, I want the option of going over my limit. Next up, student credit cards. It's going to be harder to get a credit card if you're a student. Congress wants to make restrictions for people under 18. Senate wants to do it for people who are under 21. You would need a cosigner like a parent or a guardian or perhaps a spouse if you happen to get married young. Okay, the fine print. Congress helpfully includes this provision that says that in any card application or in any card disclosure document, the font has to be a certain size. So there won't be any more fine print. And finally, we have gift cards. This is just in the Senate bill. Senator Schumer was a big fan of this. He doesn't much like gift cards. So there's a couple restrictions here. No more dormancy fees, fees for lack of use. There's another issue now, again in the Senate, with expiration dates. Well, now there's not going to be any more expiration dates for at least 5 years. So all of these things in aggregate are designed to make the industry a lot more consumer friendly. There may be unintended consequences here. We'll have to wait and see what those might be.